To John Esser Sports Channel. Yes, we have a League One Week 1 predictions, and yeah, we're starting with Notts County versus Leicester as we go into the predictions. How do we do this? We take your predictions, we look through them all, we look through the last game, in this case the Carabao Cup games, and we then make our decision based on how they played, how your thoughts were after that Carabao game. And without further ado, we go into Notts County versus Leicester City. So Notts County, you were thinking 19th to 24th position. Leicester City, you were all thinking a sort of mid-stroke bottom 1st to 6th finish here. And look, we had Notts County do an extremely good job there against Burnley. Burnley won, Notts County won. And to be honest, Burnley were, 74% possession for Burnley. Only 26 possession for Notts County, but they got 6 shots off, 2 of them on target and 1 in the net. You have to be really impressed by that. Look, defensively, yeah, you let a really excellent side in. You can't complain, can you? You really can't complain. I think 1-1 there was an absolute staunch job by Notts County. Leicester City, though, we're expecting 1st to 6th, sort of middle, bottom of the 6th, that 1st to 6th there. Leicester City, 15 minutes winner there. However, it was against Northampton Town, and Northampton only had 23% possession, 4 shots, 2 of them on target, none in the net. Leicester City with 77% possession only managed 8 shots, 3 of them on target, 1 in the net. This is one of the problems they had last season. They kept having very, very few shots on goal. But they had at least one, they'd have 2 or 3 shots on target and 1 of them in the net. And that's what they did here against Northampton. So we've got a really good clinical front line here from Leicester City. Of course, it could let Notts County in. They did really a brilliant defensive job against Burnley. And I'm just wondering whether Notts County could get a draw here or even nick it. What are you thinking then? This is where it's going to be. You're thinking 1-1, 1-1, 0-3, 0-2, 2-3. 0-3. I can see that 1-1 scoreline coming up, and I can even see the 2-3. I'm going to settle with Notts County 0, Leicester 2. This could be a draw. This could be a draw, believe me. And I wouldn't have thought that before the Carabao games. Absolutely not. Oxford versus Milton Keynes then next, and we go to a team Oxford expecting 1st to 6th at the end of the year, and Milton Keynes, who are expecting 1st to 6th as well. So who did they play last time? Oxford played Leyton Orient, and they lost 2-0 to Orient 2, Oxford 0. So yeah, they lost 2-0 to an Orient side that actually stayed quite stable over the summer period. So it wasn't too much of a unexpected event, because when you go down the doldrums, you need to break it. They didn't, Oxford. So I think that Oxford here with 49% possession, 6 shots, 2 on target, none in the net. And Orient, 12 shots, 3 on target, 2 in the net. They were just more clinical, weren't they, Orient, at the end of the day? Oxford, not clinical enough. That's what you have to think about here. And they just didn't get in that hold of the game at all for me. Milton Keynes, though, they played Norwich City in the Carabao Cup. Norwich 4, Milton Keynes 1. This I think was realistically, I'd say, a game of 2 halves. It's a game of just over 2 halves. I think Milton Keynes did come out fighting eventually. A little bit too not enough fighting for long enough for me. 25 shots though from Norwich City, 7 on target, 4 in the net. Ouch. That is ouch as well, isn't it? Milton Keynes Dons though, they did 8 shots, 5 on target, only 1 in the net. So again, not clinical enough. So we're getting 2 teams here who just I think that it's going to be a case of can one of them be clinical enough here. What are you thinking? Oxford versus MK Dons, 0-2, 1-1, 1-2, 2-1, 2-1. You're sitting on the fence, both sides of the fence. Thank you, you lot. I actually think that of the two sides, I would have expected before the Carabao Cup game to be thinking Oxford, to be thinking Milton Keynes. You've swayed me. You swayed me. I'm going Oxford 2, Milton Keynes 1 as we go to Reading versus Luton Town. So, Reading versus Luton Town. The last game for Reading was Bromley 1. 10-man Bromley 1, but it's on 90 minutes, so that doesn't count. And Bromley 1, Reading 1. Reading win 5-4 on penalties. Oh, that's a close one, isn't it? We go to the stats there, and it's Bromley, 41% possession, 15 shots, 3 on target. Listen to these stats, though. Stats here do tell a story. They don't always. They do here. Reading, 59% possession, 16 shots, 5 on target, 1 in the net. Now, I'm not going to say the conversion rate, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 5. That's not too bad. I think Reading would be a little bit more disappointed than Bromley. However, 16 shots allowed by Bromley, 15 shots allowed by Reading. The defences allowed the opposition to have too many shots at goal. Giving you the opportunity to shoot isn't always the best method in this league. You have to be a little bit more clinical, a little bit more careful with your approach, a little bit like Luton Town can be. They found it a little bit more difficult last season, but will they this season? For that reason, I find it quite difficult for the Reading side. Will they be able to convert enough here? Luton Town, because they need to convert more of them, literally. Luton Town, though, Gillingham, 3-0 winners here. They've been playing really well, and they came stronger in the second half. But they ran it pretty much the whole way through. Gillingham really started quite well from what I was hearing. I was listening to some of the commentators. Yep, Gillingham actually started quite well. Not seeing the game, so I have to go by what the commentators said there. Gillingham 0, Luton 3, and Luton had 66% possession, 17 shots. And this is what the last game should have had. 17 shots, 11 on target, 3 in the net. That's what we were talking about in the last game. Luton did it. Reading didn't. This surely has to be a Luton win. What are you thinking? 1-2, 2-2, 3-1 to Reading. 1-2, 2-2 and 2-0. Because I think Reading can convert at least one of those, I'm going to go with Reading 1, Luton 2. Agreeing with someone. We've not disagreed with anybody so far. Barnsley versus Bromley next. So let's look at Barnsley versus Bromley. So Barnsley versus Bromley, and 7th to 12th against a 13th to 18th. So Barnsley fans feeling a little bit more eager to start the season, but Bromley fans, yeah, you've made some good acquisitions, haven't you? Good, well, okay, League One players, which is, it should, you think, keep you somewhere in the middle. Barnsley, though, you had a lot of people putting them in the bottom 4. Then you've got other people putting them in the top 6. So that's why mainly Barnsley fans putting you in the 7th to 12th, around 7th to 7th to 8th, to be honest. Last time out then, Barnsley drew 1-1 in the Cup with Wigan, winning it on 6-5 on penalties. Now that is a nail-biter indeed, isn't it? And they equalised on 81 minutes. So yeah, really nail-biting. But Barnsley should have won this one. They had more of the play. They were confident on the ball. 11 shots, 4 on target, 1 in the net. But this is where I find the defence just didn't quite gel for Barnsley. 40% possession for Wigan, 13 shots. 8 of them were allowed to be on target. 8 of the 13. 8 shots on target, only 1 in the net. Wigan should have really won this one 2 or 3-1, I think, but they didn't. So Barnsley now getting away with it by the skin of their teeth. And Bromley, Reading 1-1. I mean, you cannot complain at that. Okay, Bromley had Richard Taylor was given a red on 90 minutes. Who cares? This was a hard-fought 1-1. Once Bromley got that equaliser on 33, I think it was a case of shut the door. We're not going anywhere. And this is the Reading game that we were talking about. Bromley, 15 shots and 3 on target, 1 in the net. Reading, 16 shots, 5 on target, 1 in the net. Both of these sides should have really been able to nail perhaps a second one if they really, really tried, because they both had periods where they were actually remarkably good. So they can both play some good football here, Barnsley and Bromley. But I think Bromley, to me, are just about being able to hold this together. Not quite clinical enough. Yeah, I would probably agree that was a sort of 13th to 18th game of football. Barnsley wasn't a 7 to 12. Absolutely wasn't a 7 to 12 game. Will that continue? I think this is more important than the Cup. They should be putting out a team that can is less of a test to see how we can gel players. Will they gel? 0-2, 1-1, 2-1, 2-0, 2-0, 2-2 and 2-1. A lot of you going with, one person goes with Bromley. The rest are either Barnsley or draws. I'm actually going to go Barnsley 1, Bromley 1. I can see Bromley here taking nicking that goal, nicking the draw here away at Barnsley. That'll be a good start for Bromley, won't it? As we go to Blackpool versus Wycombe Wanderers. So what do we have with Blackpool? Blackpool 7 to 12, Wycombe Wanderers 7 to 12. I actually thought Blackpool could be a little bit higher than this, but a lot of Blackpool supporters thinking, no, let's just keep us there. We've lost a few, and I'm thinking, I don't know. You've got some good quality in there. Don't down your side so early in the season before you even started the season. Wycombe Wanderers, though, they are thinking that they can be the dark horse here, because a lot of people thinking they've just been meh, and meh sides tend to go worse and worse gently, don't they? And I think they've been underestimating themselves as well. So both 7 to 12. Let's see what they do here. Grimsby 1, Blackpool 3. They were good all the way through for me, Blackpool, and they weren't on top of the game. Although it was 50-50 as far as possession was concerned, 13 shots for Grimsby, 8 shots on target, 1 in the net. They would have been bitterly disappointed. But Blackpool knew how to control this. If they're going to shoot, they're going to have, let them shoot on target. But it's going to be really difficult to XG, if you like, to get it in. I think that Blackpool, with their 3 goals, 10 shots, 4 on target, 3 in the net, were very, very clinical. I've said before the game that Blackpool could do this season. They have the ability here at Grimsby. They showed it. So what did Wycombe show? Well, Wycombe lost at home to Stevenage Borough on a 90 plus 5 minute goal, for God's sake. That is absolutely awful, isn't it? McGuinness, of course, we've heard that name before, getting that very late winner. Realistically, 13 shots each. 3 shots on target, 1 in the net for Wycombe, 5 shots on target, 2 in the net for Stevenage. It was just a case of who was going to shoot more often when they got into final third. Wycombe perhaps will be feeling a little bit aggrieved here. They should at least have come out with a draw there. I think a draw 90 minutes would have been fair. Will that affect this game? I don't think it will. I think that they will be looking at the league instead. Blackpool versus Wycombe then is going to be quite close for me. Still close after looking at those last 2 games. What are you thinking, Blackpool, Wycombe Wanderers? 2-2, 2-1, 0-3, 3-2, 3-1 and 2-1. Most of you going for Blackpool. However, I think Wycombe could could just nick this. It's either going to be 2-1 to Blackpool or Blackpool 2, Wycombe 2. Which is where we will go as we go to Bradford versus Peterborough. Bradford are 1st to 6th after all your complaints about my my predictions. That's where you're thinking. That's where the fans are thinking. 1st to 6th, somewhere on the bottom of that. Or in middle. It's a middle bottom. And Peterborough United, 19th to 24th. You don't see that you've... the fans say complaining. They're not really done anything. I think there's been a bit of movement since in the last week or two, hasn't it? But still not enough for anybody to say, ooh, I can see them be somewhere in the middle. So here the confidence value is certainly towards Bradford, Bradford 2, Rochdale 0. Rochdale can throw wobblers in the cup, absolutely. Here, though, it was all Bradford. Let's face it. My only issue here for Bradford is 52% possession, 23 shots. Ouch. 23 shots, 11 of them are on target. Only 2 goals. Only 2 goals. Now, okay, that could be Rochdale managing to push them out and defend quite doggedly on the line, which it probably was. But they should be able to target and aim and get more than 2 in from 11, realistically, especially if you're thinking of being in the top 6. They only allowed Rochdale 2 shots on target, by the way, which really does impress, doesn't it? So they're not just good at the front. Bradford are good at the back as well. Does show you, doesn't it? So there they go, playing Peterborough United. And Bristol Rovers for Peterborough. And this is where it all turns, because Peterborough fans came... I was listening to you all after the game here. Bristol Rovers 0, Peterborough 1. And okay, it was a penalty on 19 minutes. But I tell you what, Peterborough actually, they managed to stave off 20 shots from Bristol Rovers. And they managed to only allow Bristol Rovers to have 4 of those 20 on target. This was actually a damn good defensive job by Peterborough. Yeah, I know. I would usually say allowing them to 20 shots is criminal. But actually, I agree with the fans coming out of it, that it showed that they have got some good defence. Yeah, they managed to scrape this win with 9 shots, 3 on target, 1 in the net, against Bristol Rovers and they have more possession as well. Bristol Rovers, 46% possession, 20 shots, 4 on target, none in the net. They made sure that whenever the Bristol Rovers could have the ball, they went straight in, had a shot. A little bit too eager to shoot, I think, is my possible answer to the Bristol Rovers thing there. But Peterborough did a good job because we're looking at Peterborough. So this game, Bradford-Peterborough, could be quite interesting because I think that Peterborough, they may show some bite here and they may show a few people a big surprise. If there's going to be a surprise here, I think it could be in this Bradford versus Peterborough game. In fact, I originally said Bradford 2, Peterborough 2. Then I scrubbed it out and thought, look, let's go with everybody. Let's go with what the fans are thinking. What are you thinking? 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, 3-0, 4-1, 3-1, 3-1. I have to go. If I'm going with fans, I'm going to go with the majority. Bradford 3, Peterborough 1. I still see them scoring. So yes, but 2-2 could be a very, very good. I bet there's some good odds on that as we go to Burton versus Stevenage. So we have Burton 19th to 24th. The poorest squad now. After Bromley managed to get some good, decent League One signings in. Stevenage 13th to 18th, a lot more buzz around the place at Stevenage than there is at Burton Albion. Both Carabao Cup games. Let's have a look. Burton 1, Blackburn 2. And I tell you what, this wasn't. This didn't go to plan, did it? Burton scored on 14 minutes. Blackburn waited until 81 minutes to finally get an equaliser, and then 88 minutes to win this one. This was dangerously close for Blackburn, wasn't it? 27 shots, though, for Blackburn. 64% possession. Kept the ball, got in there, had a shot. Only 7 of those 27 were on target against a Burton side that they would have been thinking they could wipe the floor with. They didn't wipe the floor with them. They didn't have anywhere near the number of shots that they should have been capable of getting. And Burton were capable of equalising, of keeping this as a draw at least. 36% possession, but 17 shots by Burton. 17 shots. This is a side that's capable and aren't afraid to shoot against a good Blackburn side or division ahead. 17 shots, 7 on target, 1 in the net. They would have been bitterly disappointed they didn't hang on for at least the draw. I think that Burton here certainly proved that they may be thinking 19th to 24th. That is not a 19th to 24th play, was it? The weekend. Stevenage Borough then. 13th to 18th, you're thinking, and yeah, not as good, are we? So Wycombe 1, Stevenage 2. Now you managed to win against what I think is a decent Wycombe side, who are slightly underestimating themselves here as fans. Wycombe then, 59%. 13 shots, 3 on target, but Stevenage with less possession still had 13 shots, 5 on target, 2 in the net. They were just more clinical. Stevenage just that little bit more clinical. I think that Burton were the surprise here. And could they do it again? Yes, I think they could. I think this could be a good game, but I think that there's not much chance of goals in this. And I'm agreeing with you. Listen to what people are saying here. 0-1, 0-1, 0-1, 1-0, 1-1, 1-2, 0-0. I'm tempted to go with 1-1 either way, but I'm going to go with Burton 1, Stevenage 2. I think that they will manage to be just that little bit more clinical up front. Who's next? Cambridge versus Wigan Athletic. So both these teams, Cambridge and Wigan, are 13th to 18th in the fans' view. Cambridge, it was Cambridge 2, Barnet 1. This could have easily been a draw. Easily, in fact, Barnet realistically could have won this one. Cambridge didn't really play that well. They went behind on 49 minutes, and then they managed to come back 52 minutes and 57. 51% possession for Cambridge. 13 shots, 7 on target, 2 in the net. Decent, isn't it? Absolutely decent. They should have won it. Barnet, 49% possession, 17 shots, 6 on target, 1 in the net. They would have been gutted they didn't equalise here. It was a Cambridge side that made the meal of this game. Yes, they won it. Just. Wigan Athletic then. They played Barnsley in a 1-1 draw where they lost 6-5 on penalties. Ouch. They would have been gutted of that, wouldn't they? I think any team that loses 6-5 on penalties is going to be gutted. But Barnsley controlled the game. They controlled the game. 60% possession, 11 shots, 4 on target. I would have hoped for more than that. I really would. They just kept it, and Wigan the defence was quite good, pushing Barnsley back. Even though Barnsley had the ball a lot, they didn't let them in. And they weren't afraid to shoot. Wigan actually had more shots, 13 shots for their 40%, 8 of them on target, and only 1 in the net. They would have been distraught they didn't win this one 2-1. It should have been 2-1. It just wasn't. So on the day, Wigan showing how they just don't seem to have that ability to get the finishing edge there. So we've got Cambridge versus Wigan. What are you thinking? 0-1, 1-0, 0-0, 1-1, 2-0, 2-2, and 1-0. Because you're all over the place, I'm having to think about this because I think that Wigan they would have been distraught, wouldn't they? But then Cambridge, they made a meal of it, but they won. I have to go. I'm just going to go with the majority. I'm going to go with the majority, and that's the only thing here. I think this could go either way. It could be a dull 0-0. Could very well be a dull 0-0. I'm going to Cambridge 1, Wigan 0. I don't want to sit on the fence on that one, so we'll go with Cambridge United, the home side. As we go to Huddersfield versus Wimbledon. Now, most people here will be thinking this is a whitewash, isn't it? This is absolute whitewash. It's going to be Huddersfield. You're all thinking first to sixth, and you're the only team in League One whose fans think first or second. Wimbledon, 13th to 18th. You're actually thinking mid-table. And I'm proud of the fact that you think you can do it, because you have to have faith in this division. You really do. Huddersfield drew 1-1 with Preston. Preston losing Lewis Gibson on 21 minutes. And Huddersfield not really taking the bull by the horns here. Huddersfield 54% possession. Both sides had 10 shots. Preston had 3 on target, 1 in the net. Huddersfield had 2 on target, 1 in the net. And I tell you what, that's exactly what they did for most of last season. They could have 2 shots, 1 shot on target, and get 1 in the net. Absolutely. Or even 2 in the net. Really ridiculous. They were really good at it. They're showing that they're doing exactly the same against a good Preston side. Wimbledon then, Newport County 1-1, and Wimbledon did get through 90 plus 7-minute equaliser here. Ouch. And then they won 5-4 on penalties. But they made a meal of it. They really did. Wimbledon, 61% possession, 16 shots. But Newport had 14 shots from 39. They certainly weren't afraid in attacking. And because of that, I think that Newport really did show Wimbledon that they're not going to be walked over. 5 shots on target from Wimbledon, 1 in the net. 4 shots on target from Newport, 1 in the net. In a different day, it could have been any score whatsoever. 2-1 either way would have been probably just as reasonable as 1-1. But in the end, probably a good score, 1-1, which I think Wimbledon will be pretty dire feeling about, I think, that one. So I think Huddersfield do have the edge here, most certainly. They had a good draw there against Preston. What are you thinking? 2-0, 2-0, 1-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. Guess what? I'm going to go with the majority of Huddersfield 3, Wimbledon 0. As we go through to the last 3 games, Leyton Orient versus Sheffield Wednesday. And what are we thinking here? The fans are thinking Orient 13th to 18th. I'm trying to go really quick for you. Sheffield Wednesday fans thinking the bottom end of 1st to 6th, probably 6th or 7th is what a lot of you were saying. As we go to Orient, who kept a lot of their good players. They haven't lost them. And they've managed to stabilise the team and slightly improve it. It's a good team here. They won 2-0 against Oxford here. Leyton Orient, right at the end, 85 minutes and 88 minutes. So Oxford collapsed for me. But Oxford were just not in it. They were defending. And even when they got the ball, they had 49% possession, Oxford, but they only had 6 shots, 2 on target. They just didn't get forward. And when they did, they turned around and came back again. This is a good defensive show by Leyton Orient. That's something we have to think about when they play Sheffield Wednesday, because they only had 3 shots on target after their 12, but 2 of them were in the net. So they don't need a lot of shots. They can score from very few, this Leyton Orient side. About Sheffield Wednesday, they played the high-flying team from last year, Bolton. Obviously, Bolton had Simmons sent off on 56 minutes. Did they make a most of it? Well, yeah, on 70, the Wednesday squad scored through Jamal Lowe. And 13 shots, only 55% possession for Bolton. Didn't seem to make much difference, really. Look, they did sort of try and pull back a little bit and play. Bolton like playing from the back. It didn't really make a hell of a lot of difference from Bolton's perspective. they can always move around and still attack down the wings. So from Bolton's perspective, 11 shots, 1 on target, none in the net. You know, they too can have one on target, 1 in the net. Absolutely. But Wednesday, 13 shots from their 45% possession, 3 on target, so not very clinical, and 1 in the net. So when 1 out of 3 is good, but yeah, the 13-3, I would hope for a high-flying Wednesday, a good quality Wednesday squad, even with kids in it, can do well. They should be doing better than that. So from me, both of these sides sort of even out a little bit, because Wednesday didn't quite do as well as I thought they would. I thought they'd do better than that. I know it was against a Bolton side, but against a 10-man Bolton side, I would have hoped that that squad was capable of at least matching them. Didn't quite do it as well as what I thought they would. Or am I overestimating Wednesday? And Orient, yeah, good win there. 2-0 at home to Oxford. I'm going to have to go with you because I'm really not knowing which way to go here. In fact, I did scribble 0-0. I did scribble 0-0 thinking this could be a draw. And both of these sides will think, we don't want to lose this one. We don't want to lose this one. Desperately need to at least get a point. And I scribbled it out, and I went with one of you. So what are you saying? 1-2, 1-2, 2-1, 2-1, 1-2, 1-4, 1-2. I've gone with the majority instead. I went from a 0-0 to a Orient 1, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Oh, sorry, Orient fans, but you may get a 0-0. Let's see what happens. Mansfield versus Doncaster next, and Mansfield fans all saying that they think, well, most of you thinking 1st to 6th. Right at the bottom there. And Doncaster 7 to 12. Again, you're saying I've got it. Both of these fans were distraught about my predictions. Mansfield putting you in 1st to 6th. Doncaster fans putting 7th to 12th. Let's see what the games were last time out. Mansfield played Sheffield United and they lost 3-0. But I tell you what, this was a good game for Mansfield, actually. Mansfield 50-50 on possession. And they kept, Sheffield United, 20 shots out of their 50%. They'll have been distraught. They only got 4 of them on target because that Mansfield side made sure they didn't. I thought the Mansfield defence played really well. The Mansfield, I know you're going to say, yeah, but they let 3 in. Yeah, against Sheffield United, for God's sake. So, Mansfield, 50% possession, 7 shots, 2 on target, none in the net. It was against Sheffield United. They've been really clinical this season. They got some good signings. They showed how good they were. Patrick Bamford, Mark McGuinness, Callum O'Hare scoring. Come on, it says it itself, doesn't it? They played a good side, and I tell you what, that defence played damned well, even though it was 3-0. They're playing a Doncaster side that drew 1-1. Stockport 1, Doncaster 1. Alfie May scored on 50 minutes. Stockport scored on 51. They didn't stay ahead very long. Doncaster 8 shot with 27% possession. 1 shot on target, 1 in the net. That's all you need, isn't it? Absolutely. But you have to look at this 73% possession by get away, fly. 73% possession by Stockport County. 19 shots, 9 on target, 1 in the net. Stockport County will be gutted. They weren't clinical enough up front, and Doncaster were just good enough to be able to bat them away, panic them away, I think. Stockport County was strong, just not clinical enough at all. So where does that put you lot? You lot are saying Mansfield, Doncaster 2-1, 3-1, 2-1, 3-3, 2-2 and 2-0. So nobody's saying Doncaster. I'm going to agree with Mansfield 2, Doncaster 1. As we go to Plymouth versus Stockport, our last game. Now, we've just mentioned Stockport, but we will go back into it. Plymouth won Exeter, the South Coast derby there. Plymouth 2, Exeter 0. And it was 10-man Exeter as well, with Ethan Sutherland off on 87. I don't think that made much difference. This game was pretty much all Plymouth. 63% possession, 21 shots, 6 on target, 2 in the net. Yeah, pretty much about walk in the park for them. Exeter had managed 1 shot from their 37%. It was all defending, basically. So Plymouth, good job there. Stockport County, like we said, this is the interesting one against Doncaster, where Stockport won, Doncaster won. Doncaster went through 5-4 on penalties. I don't know if I remember saying that, but Stockport, 19 shots from 73% possession, 9 on target, but 1 in the net. If that continues here, then this Plymouth side will be just walking straight over from the Exeter game and continuing. What are you thinking? Well, yeah, one person here thinks may not be a walkover. They may not do the same mistake twice in a row. Plymouth Stockport 2-2, 2-1, 1-1, 0-1, 2-1 and 3-1. So yes, we have got both sides of the coin and in the middle, but a majority, I think you're going to be a walkover. I think Plymouth 3, Stockport 1, I'll agree with you. So I've agreed with everybody. I nearly didn't agree with the Orient Sheffield Wednesday, nearly went for a 0-0, and I nearly didn't agree with you on the Bradford game, nearly going Bradford 2, Peterborough 2. What do you think? Like and subscribe, and leave your comments down below. Join us at Sports Channel. Like and subscribe.